Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 451. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin, and I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
We are back. I'm energized. I'm just now realizing my mic is really low. But I don't
Yeah,
feel
because
like
we were super laid back for the Home Run Derby live stream watch party.
Yeah. Shout out for those who joined. That was fun.
That was fun. This is our first time getting together since then. We didn't do anything post All-Star game. So this is...
Yeah.
I guess technically this is post All-Star game, but you know what I mean. We didn't do anything right after the fact. Took a little bit of a break. But yeah, that live stream was fun, man. Gave away some cash, hung out with the folks, gave away a jersey, gave away some pizza, gave away a hat, and just watched a lot of home runs.
Yeah. How are you? Quick, like, I don't know, recap. Not recap, but maybe like a quick reaction on the whole week, on Derby, All-Star game, how it was done, broadcast, what you liked, what you didn't like, anything to report?
Can I just say 2 words?
Sure.
Jarren.
Sure, that's fair. You're allowed to say that. Yeah.
I mean, they don't give that award to schmucks. And I got criticized, and am still in passing getting criticized.
Who's criticizing you?
Still getting criticized for my comments on Ryan Ripken and company's stream about Jarren Duran being as good as he is.
Who's criticizing you?
Just everybody.
Is this manufactured hate?
Just everybody.
You're an idiot. There's no manufactured hate going on here.
Nobody wanted to listen to me. I said, forget about Shohei Ohtani. Jarren Duran's the face of baseball. And people are like, whoa, man. I said, yeah, Jarren Duran's the face of baseball.
Boys popping off. I did see like a TikTok that was like a revenge low light reel of like some of the mistakes he made a few years ago, like specifically that like inside the park home run that went over his head. Homies picked it up, man. Added a couple tattoos to the sleeve. Could have put a couple LBs on. Yeah, he's good. He's good. No, there's not much I can say there. Then he ran into one.
Oh yeah. That's why he got the award that he got. He stepped up when the league needed him, which, by the way, that makes it for those keeping track at home, that's 10 of the last 11 All-Star games for the American League.
Yeah.
And then I think somebody was like, that's just the last 11. Go back to 1988. I said the American League is 28-7 since 1988.
I think we're hearing rumblings of transitioning away from the uniforms.
Yes.
I think someone's listening.
Seems like an easy win for Major League Baseball. No, like I feel like people have been talking about this for long enough. People have been fed up with the jerseys long enough where it's like, can we just go back to it? This isn't like an old head versus new age conversation. This is just something that I think a lot of people want. I will safely. I don't like throwing around the word majority a lot, but I feel like I'm safe in saying that the majority want to go back to just guys having their own team's uniforms. It's that simple.
Yeah, I like it. I think it might happen. There might be a little something there.
Your quick thoughts on, and we don't have to belabor the All-Star game necessarily. I know it's been a minute now, so we can talk about current events, but your quick thoughts on Paul Skeens and Aaron Judge almost not happening.
My quick thought, first off, Jeff Passan pissed a lot of people off because the Soto at bat, he had tweeted out, Judge Skeens, it's happening now. Obviously, he's at the ballpark. And everyone on Twitter is like, bro, we're still halfway through this Soto at bat. Like, did you have, like, can we remember that a little bit? So it kind of spoiled that in my mind. And I knew that was going to be a good AB. I knew it was going to be a walk, but I knew it was going to be a good AB. So props to Soto for making that happen. But yeah, I'm a little bummed with. I would have liked for Judge to milk that out a little bit and just seen one. Like, let one go by, give us a few seconds. It was over before people even knew what was happening. But to like pull and roll over I think it was 100 or 101 fastball up. It was kind of crazy.
I just don't know why Bruce Bochy went with the lineup that he did. I feel like we had it pretty much laid out there. Gunnar, Soto, Judge. Why, Quan? Yeah. Congrats, man. That's a big time honor to make it to the All-Star game. You're a starter, but like Gunnar, Soto, Judge. That was an easy recipe right there, just right in front of you. Anyway, that's all I had to say on that.
It's an oversight by Boch. Not too many of those in his career.
I had to watch majority of the game on mute, so I wasn't able to catch much of the in-game stuff because, as I mentioned on the Home Run Derby live stream, which again, shout out to those of you who joined us. That was a great time. Hopefully, we can do something like that soon. But yeah, I was out of town in Colorado this past week, so it worked out well that we had a little bit of a break because I would probably not have been able to catch much baseball. In fact, didn't really catch as much this weekend as I would have liked.
Yeah.
But shout out to the family, the extended family that listens. We got a handful of them. Like just about everybody checked in with me and asked me how it's going. Like
that's big time.
How's the show going? What are you all up to for the break? And I was like, we're laying low for once.
Yeah.
So shout out to those of you, Colorado family, Texas family, even the East Coast family. Much love.
There you go.
Much love to you guys.
Caught a Rockies game, yeah.
Caught a Rockies game. Friend of the pod, Jake Cave, absolutely taken over the game that we were at.
That's big time.
I think he tied it up with a double. Or I want to say tied up with a double or something. It was a clutch AB. I think he ended up on second, drove in a run, and then it just hit a nuke to right center. That was fun to watch.
I think Mans is. I haven't. I'm not looking at numbers. I don't. Whatever. But I don't. I'm getting the vibe that he could potentially provide something to a contender.
I think he's kind of liking it in Colorado. Honestly,
I know. You can tell. Yeah.
I think he likes it wherever he goes. He's just that kind of dude. That's the kind of player he is.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Oh,
did you get any food there?
I did. Did I not text you? We got those. I was recommending to everybody those nachos that you and I got that last time. The monster nachos.
Chicken monster nachos. Yeah.
Oh, I think I got the pork.
Did you?
Pulled pork monster nachos. Those are fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's big time. That's big time. Love course.
Last thing I'll say on the All-Star stuff. Like the next day after the All-Star game, I'm searching rentals in Atlanta for next year. I've got the list dwindled down to a few that I think I may pull the trigger on one of them because there's free cancellation. My question to you, though, as we're sort of planning this out, thinking about this really live here on air, would it make sense to go to meet down there Saturday and just make the most of the weekend? Or should we go out there Sunday and then just roll right into it with the Home Run Derby Monday? Because I think if I'm not mistaken,
when does the red carpet thing start?
That's what I was gonna say. They do like the whole fan fest thing, and then they do the like red carpet. I'm pretty sure I think the fan fest is Saturday. Maybe the red carpet stuff is Sunday.
I think we take the whole weekend if we're making the trip. You know what I mean?
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think we take the whole as much of it in as we can. You know,
because I very well may pull the trigger like today.
Ooh, boy,
just to lock it in. I mean, if something comes up, we can always pull the plug. But
and the wives might be coming on this one.
They might be coming.
We're stepping it up a little bit.
Well, the rental that I'm looking at is going to house it can house 4 people. So for whatever reason, the wives are like, we don't want to come. Maybe we just invite some other people with us. I don't know. Maybe Ryan can come down with us. I don't know.
There you go.
But yeah, I might just pull a trigger. Not gonna lie.
I like that.
I might do it.
I like the spontaneity out of you.
Speak it into existence. We might just do it. All right, let's get into it here. But first, that's for the people that saw the title of this episode. Like, it's we're good. They're gonna talk about the Astros. I don't want to listen. Grow up.
Yeah.
Grow up.
Yeah.
You brought this on yourself.
They did.
You brought this on yourself. You were kicking them while they were down. And look, again, I don't really have a dog in the fight. I don't really care how the Astros season goes one way or another because, again,
I don't even like them.
It's worth repeating. A majority of the guys on the team have nothing to do with the reason that you don't like the franchise. We're going to say that till we're blue in the face. But you said specifically, for those of you that are laughing, just wait. And you said, I hate that it's coming, but it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are. Astros in first place in the American League West. This weekend had a day where they had sole possession, which was the first time all year, which is
considering the start is crazy.
Kind of mind-blowing, but they have certainly arrived.
What was the lowest of low? Was it like 10 games under 500 at one point? It was
according to Opta Stats on Twitter. On June 18th, the Astros were 33-40 and 10 games out. Just 24 games later, which I believe this was as of like Saturday or Sunday, they're now in first. They're the second team in MLB history to go from being 5+ games under 500 and 10.5 games back to being in first place in fewer than 25 games, along with the Miracle Braves of 1914, as we all remember fondly.
Yeah.
That was a good team.
Sitting in front of the radio, just listening,
Taking it in.
Yeah.
With a cup of warm milk.
That's
Those Miracle Braves. Love that team.
That
was a good squad.
With the old paddle ball game.
Old Johnny Longlegs McDickerson.
Just playing. Remember that game?
Playing with the paddle ball, playing with our yo-yos. Was yo-yos even invented at that point? Of course they were. I remember that. I remember playing with it like it was yesterday back in 1914. Yeah. Who doesn't? But I can't even sound surprised anymore. Like this,
I'm not.
I'm and it's not a bit anymore. Like I know we keep saying like, oh, we've been saying this, but legitimately, we have been saying this for some time, and I'm still concerned for those of you that don't understand why or how this happened. It happens every year, regardless how they start. They end up, at the very least, being a part of the picture. And here we are. We haven't even reached August yet, and they're threatening to just cruise right on by the Mariners. And everybody else sits in their way. So, I mean, what more do we say beyond that point? Like, it's just what they do.
How much of this is the Mariners just kind of coming back down to earth, but also the Astros being what they normally are? Is it a combination? For it to happen this quickly, I think it's a combination of that. I think it's a combination of Seattle just kind of coming back down to the enter in the they are who we thought they were gif. You know what I mean?
I'm at the point now.
No disrespect, but like they don't excite me. They don't.
like I'm sure my thoughts on the Mariners have evolved over time, but at this current stage, I'm just not all that like riled up when I think about the Mariners. I'm not like, oh, this is a team that could go deep into October. Like, the bit surrounding this club for the longest time was like, can they even get to October? And now it's like, okay,
yeah,
had a little taste of it. Didn't really do much to what do they say? Whet the appetite or whatever. Didn't really do much.
I think the pitching's been good. I'm curious to see. I think Robbie Ray is due back pretty soon. So it's like, what do you get out of that?
At the top of the list of things that don't really do anything for me, go ahead and add Robbie Ray coming back to the list. I know. I mean, what are we talking about? Like, this is a team that even when fully healthy doesn't really move the needle. The output is minimal. And even your guys that you hope lead the charge in terms of grabbing national headlines, such as a Julio Rodriguez, as we've already mentioned, is having a rather pedestrian year.
Few years now.
Yeah, so it's like they're just waiting for that stardom to fully blossom. I don't know if we can't say for sure that it's coming. You'd like to think that it's coming, but you don't know for sure that it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
So given that, it's like, why do people feel obligated to latch onto the Mariners? I mean, I get it if you're just tired of the Astros story. I understand that you want to latch onto them to maybe see something else, but like they haven't
most of it.
They haven't shown us or given us any reason as to why we should believe that that's a realistic track.
Yeah, I mean, I think rotation for rotation, when you compare the Astros and the Mariners, like you can see that could be a little bit of a wash if the Mariners are doing what I mean, like it's not like George Kirby and Logan Gilbert are chumps. You know what I'm saying? I think you could say it's a little bit of a wash there, but like the back end of the Astros lineup wise, like I'm almost taking Astros at pretty much every position. What's crazy is that they're now, we'll get into it here in a minute, but like now I think they're both really in play for a little bop at first base. I think they're both looking for the same things at the deadline, and it's going to make things a little more interesting. But I'm not surprised, man. This is just like, when you have a group of guys that they've been to the ALCS like 17 times in a row, like this is what they do. They know how to do this. And it's the marathon mentality of like, it's okay if we started this way, we're just going to feel our way out and eventually get to the point where we need to be. And now they're at that point. And no one believed us. No one wanted to believe it. Hate them all you want, but like you got to still, game has to respect game. You know what I mean? They're good. They're real good. How about Jordan getting a cycle?
How about that? Oh, you're dipping into my closing the book.
My bad.
No, it's all right. Hey, it's worth noting. Jordan, maybe Jordan is finally getting back to like 100% Jordan there, because I threw around the word pedestrian just a minute ago. I'm not saying he's had a pedestrian year by any stretch, but you can ask him. I would bet, and I would venture to say that he'd probably tell you that this hasn't been the best run through basically July that he's ever had. Mm-hmm. But maybe this is something that'll truly get the wheels and the gears turning for Jordan.
Are the numbers that meh?
Well, but that's
for Jordan standards, you mean?
That's what I'm saying. Jordan standards. I don't like. He hasn't been in the. He just hasn't. At least from my point of view, from where I'm standing, I haven't heard Jordan's name as much as guys like Gunnar. I mean, obviously Shohei. As often and as frequently as we've heard. And I'm just telling you, as through maybe June. Let me pull something up for you. Let me see.
He's on your fantasy team.
I know. Okay, well, you want to look at it through the perspective of fantasy? I was just looking at this yesterday. It's pretty fascinating.
Man, it's fine.
Yordan Alvarez has slightly more points than Rafael Devers, Jarren Duran.
I get what you're saying.
Way less than Gunnar Henderson, Bobby Witt.
MVP status.
I'm not saying, again, people are going to hear that and go, what are you talking about? Yordan's having a great year. Yes. Like if you're looking at league average, Yordan's having a great year. I'm talking about Yordan standards. At least up until late, he hasn't been going off the way I think you would expect as what I think is going to be a perennial MVP candidate. But I keep hearing a lot of talk about the tiebreaker, or maybe not a lot of talk, but I was reading a handful of articles that were talking about like, the importance of the tiebreaker, and the Mariners getting the win on Sunday was huge as they wrap up the series with the Astros. And then I'm going, it's a nice thought to talk about, and it's certainly a factor that's at play, but it's not really at play, if we're being honest here. Come on. The tiebreaker is not going. Go ahead, quote me, Sharpie, whatever you want to call it. The Astros are not going to need a tiebreaker at the end of the season. The tiebreaker will not be relevant between the Astros and the Mariners come the end of the season.
I would concur. I
mean, it's interesting right now. I think, let me pull it up here. Through 10 matchups this year, Mariners hold a 6-4 advantage against the Astros. So that's worth noting, but that I think more so is relevant to the start that the Astros had, because everybody was beating the Astros.
They play 13 now, right?
They have, they have one series. Let me see. It's the final series of the year. I don't know if that's at the end of the season or if they're just talking about like the last time these two teams play. But that'll be in Houston. And it says because the Mariners are up 6-4, as long as they don't get swept, they will own the tiebreaker. But my point is that that's not going to even matter.
Yeah. I think so too. I don't know if the Mariners are in a position roster-wise to make that deep of a run. I think I'm more so leaning to the fact that they have been in this position now just because of the Rangers and Astros being that subpar up to this point. I wouldn't be surprised if the Astros win this by 5 games. The roster's just there, and I have no idea. I don't have no idea where they're at farm wise, but I think the Astros have less holes. You need guys to step up in Seattle. You need stuff to start happening.
By the way, the note about Yordan that I was trying to pull up, through June, only had 16 home runs. And I know I say only, but again,
yeah,
looking elsewhere around the league,
I think he's still going to end up with a 35 home run season. I think it's just nuts. I think it's more respect on what we're seeing across the league. Like we're going to see,
and that's
3, 4, maybe 5 guys over 40 home runs this year in the AL.
That's entirely go back to the beginning of this conversation. That's entirely what I'm saying. Is like
that he's not one of those guys.
He's not in the mix right now with these other guys, but who knows? We'll see what the remaining of the season has in store. I kind of had it saved for later, but it probably just makes sense to talk about it now. Ty France placed on outright waivers by the Mariners. Let's not forget, this man was an all-star 2 years ago.
Yeah. I get it. What was he hitting, like 220 something?
I don't have his numbers on the year, but in the he's played 26 games since he came back from a fracture in his heel, I believe. He's slashing 159, 275, 227 with 1 home run and 4 RBIs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. The old lower half injury. Injuries below the waist never really seem to go away when you're that age. I feel for him a little bit. Outright waivers, I believe I read, means that if he does clear waivers, he's still a Mariner, and then he is allowed to be sent down.
Yeah, Seattle. They've placed him on outright waivers. He's been placed on, which I guess isn't just a variation of it, irrevocable waivers. I read. Players outrighted typically can be assigned to the minor leagues, but because France has more than 5 years of major league service, he can refuse the assignment. And if he signs as a free agent, his new team will owe him a prorated portion of the major league minimum, while the Mariners pay the difference.
Trying to think of who would take a shot.
I've seen speculation that the Astros would take a shot.
That'd be crazy.
Because
that would be such a slap in the face if he just gets sent over there and hits like 280. You know,
because who do they got over there now? Singleton, I think it is.
Yeah, I think that's been bad.
He's been kind of cheeks, but I've seen the Astros thrown around, and maybe it's like the proximity effect. Maybe it's like the recency bias, but I've seen the Astros thrown around, and I mean, why not? Frankly, I don't see how that's any different than like a Jose Abreu situation.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
If you're the Astros, why not just go get a lockdown? Well, I don't know what's happening with Tristan Cassis. No, like he was supposed to be back, I think, like 2+ weeks ago. Still out. Ooh. So I don't know what's going on there.
Can't think of anybody else.
And Dom Smith has been holding it down enough, I think, to negate needing to shake up the old apple cart. So
tough for Ty.
Tough for Ty.
Luke Raley just slot in there. I mean, he's normally an outfielder. Does he play first at all?
Rookie Tyler Locklear is prepared to take over the duties at first base.
All right. We'll see.
It's not going to matter.
Yeah. I don't think it will either.
Not going to matter. Ozzie Albies headed to the IL. Expected to miss likely 8 weeks.
That's basically just it, right? You know?
Yeah.
Come back in October if
get trounced by the Phillies again.
Are we just there? Can we just be there with Atlanta? Just be like,
what do you mean?
How many times are you going to get kicked back down the mountain? You know what I mean? These are gut punches after gut punches.
When you say there, can we be there with the Braves? What are you saying?
Are
you saying at the point of no return?
At the point of it's just not this. It's not happening.
This year.
If they sneak into a wild card spot, great. But like at a certain point, man. What is crazy though is that you can still look at the middle of that lineup and be like Riley, Olsen, Ozuna, and you're like, that's still kind of nuts. But at the same time, I'm like, how many? And I think, with Fried has like the forearm thing going on, right?
Yeah, he just got sent to the IL this weekend, I believe.
What do we got? What's left?
Matt Olson Austin Riley, again,
subpar.
To draw sort of a parallel to the Jordan thing. I'm not saying they're Jordan. I'm not saying Jordan is these guys. I'm just saying in terms of conversation about guys I think coming into the year that you were expecting to have better numbers at this stage of the season, both Austin Riley and Matt Olson only have 13 home runs. And I know that's not the only metric, but that's the first one that jumps off the page. You can look at advanced metrics and say, well, they're providing in other capacities, but it's like bare minimum, you're gonna need some power from those guys, and it's just lacking.
There's too much going on, man. There's too much going on. I think Michael Harris is also on the IL. There's only so much you can overcome. There's only so much of the next man up mentality that is going to be able to like get by.
I mean, if I told you on opening day that at the end of July that Marcelo Zuna was going to be your headliner of the year, you're probably thinking that season didn't go as expected.
Yeah, that's a good point. Was Ozzie even doing that well?
You know how I feel about Ozzie Albies. I'm sorry, I just don't get it. I don't get the infatuation with Ozzie Albies, and I'm not trying to kick a man while he's down, and I'm not trying to ruffle the feathers of Braves fans. I know you all love him dearly, and I know that a lot of times fan bases get attached to a guy that maybe isn't as good as they might think he is. That's just how fandom works. I understand.
I think we've seen that with Dansby.
I don't want to comment on Dansby. I don't want to upset. I've already planted my flag on Ozzie. I don't need to add more fuel to the fire here. But with Ozzie, I mean, like, what are we? I need to pull something up here. We've done this before. We've done this before. And granted, it's been a minute since we did any sort of ranking around the league position wise.
Second base is just so thin.
It's like,
so like I don't think the argument of saying he's a top 5 second baseman in baseball really just, it doesn't hold that much water right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
and I'm not saying that he's not. Like, that argument can be made, certainly. 3-time All-Star, Silver Slugger, 2-time Silver Slugger. But I just don't think he's this must-have that Braves fans make him out to be. When Ozzie goes down. Now, if they're making that argument based on the vibes and personality and chemistry and just what he brings from that front, I'll hear that out. Yeah. But this isn't exactly a guy when he goes down performance-wise that's really gonna make you suffer that bad. Like, your season isn't over if you lose Ozzie Albies. You won the World Series without Ronald Acuna Jr. Don't tell me that Ozzie Albies is the glue that holds your World Series hopes together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mentioned earlier of like the lower half injuries. Same applies to hands. Wrists, fingers, hands. It doesn't come back the same way. And I believe it was thumb last year, wasn't it? Or was that 2 years ago? I think it was a broken thumb for a while.
I think that was, or maybe it was 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago.
I think it was 2 years ago because I believe I was at the game it happened at. I could be wrong.
Was that in September?
Yeah, that was there for my buddy's bachelor party.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I was at that game. Yeah, man. I think I'm with you. I've never really been like fully on board there. But overall, I just think the Braves are pretty cooked, man. I'm not gonna say sell, but I think you could do a little bit of You know, like
we're just having this whole conversation.
Sell.
We're just talking about like the value that each guy brings. Then we get to the point at this point in the conversation, you go, I think the Braves are just pretty cooked. I mean, hey, you said it, not me. You know how I feel about the division, specifically the NL East, at this stage in the game, but I just want it on record that you said that, not me.
I think they're obviously good enough to hold on to this wild card spot, potentially even the top wild card spot. I just don't see a thing where they can look at this deadline and be like, we're a couple moves away from being able to hoist that trophy again. Just doesn't feel that way. Not with these big of names that have gone down. Then you kind of I think you got to take this one on the chin. If you're a Braves fan, just let the Phillies fans chirp this year. Let them be loud because there's not much you can do or say right now.
Look, I just have one challenge for the Braves. You know what? I'll make this promise to Braves fans. If the season pans out, if the paces that have been set for this division hold true for the remainder of the season, if the Phillies end up taking it, I'm not going to say anything to Braves fans. But I will make this promise to Braves fans. If you finish beneath the New York Mets this year, you will never hear the end of it from me. And I can promise you that much. They're currently 4 games behind you in the rearview mirror. If you let the Mets overtake you in the division, I'm not saying at any point, I'm just saying by the end of the year, you just better hope that doesn't happen. In a year that the Mets were not supposed to compete. Just know you've been warned.
It's a lot of injuries, though.
It's the Mets. It's the Mets. Nate, it's the Mets. What are we talking about?
It's a lot of big injuries.
No, I don't care. Frankly, I don't care. Ask me if I care.
I still think they're cooked.
Ask me if I care.
I don't think you care.
I don't care. It's the Mets, dude. Like, even with the injuries, you should still be better than the Mets.
One would think. One would think.
Oh, no. They better hope that doesn't happen. That's all I'm going to say.
The Philly side of you is growing by the day.
It's absolutely not. It's more of a Braves thing at this point. The corresponding move, though, they didn't wait around long. Picked up Whit Merrifield, added him to the squad. They added Whit Merrifield. That's really all I've got there. I mean,
I think Whit Merrifield can play solid defense and hit 268. So,
yeah, he can certainly be a replacement for Ozzie Albies.
Yeah,
there's no doubt in my mind that can take place. I mean, I'm of the belief that it could have been worse. Like, you could have been left with somebody a lot worse. I think. I think there's still some. I mean, he's 35. I still think there's a little bit. I'm not saying like untapped potential. Like, we haven't seen the peak of Whit Merrifield's career. I'm not saying that, but like I think you can still get a little bit out of him for these last couple of months to hold it down.
Professional hitter who's going to play professional defense. And that's all you need to squirm your way into the wild card spot.
Is he going to put up Joe Morgan numbers? No. He's going to give you the minimum that you need at that position.
Mm-hmm. I like the move, personally.
Yeah.
I think it was a little bit interesting from the Phillies to do it. I saw the Rob Thompson interview about it. He's like, this one hurt. He's like,
yeah,
I've been in baseball a long time, and these conversations are never easy, but this one was tough. So I think it just shows that like the level of value that a Whit Merrifield brings, whether it's numbers or outside the numbers. I think there's some value there. So good move. Probably not that much of a drop off.
I know I said what I said about Ozzie Albies.
I mean, he's definitely better than Whit Merrifield. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Well, I think it'd be a little bit of a drop off. I mean, the guy was, let me see here. He was hitting $199 through 53 games.
He's also never gotten to this point of not playing every day. He's been in this weird spot between the way he was treated with like the Royals, the Blue Jays, this like infield and outfield situation, the, playing twice a week kind of thing. I think this would be good for him. I think if he plays every day in Atlanta, you're going to see him capable of doing some stuff.
I'm correct in saying that the Royals let him go at the right time, right? Hit 281 in 44 games for the Jays in 2022. His All-Star last year hit 272 with 11 bombs. I mean,
that's the medium right there. That's the normal. You'll get normal. If he plays every day, you'll get normal.
I mean, but you're seeing him hit north of 300 with Kansas City, and then it kind of trickles off as he gets older.
Yeah.
Yeah. All in all, I think to your point, drop off may not be that bad. So I think that's the takeaway here is that Whit Merrifield, I think at the very least, can hold it down. But to Nate's point, he said they're cooked, so doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Like, if you're a Braves fan, and you can get mad all you want, but like, let's be honest. Let's look at what you've lost, and you tell me if you're able to make a deep run. I think they know that the division is out of hand at this point. And I think you know what it takes as a fan base. You understand what it takes for a roster to be able to do what they need to do in October. So hoist a trophy, and I don't see it. Just being realistic.
They just got Eddie Rosario back, too. I don't know if you saw that.
Cooked. I'm over this. Let's move on.
Let's stop talking about the Braves. Clayton Kershaw set to make his first start of the season this week, Thursday, to be exact. Dave Roberts said this weekend that he would be ready for the finale against the Giants.
This is perfect. This is perfect. If you're the dot, you're basically like Kershaw's in like Tiger Woods mode. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna play majors. I'll just show up in August.
Give me the ball against the Giants. I'll be good.
Let me show up at the end of July, beginning of August. I'll give you 12 starts, and then we'll go into the postseason feeling better. So this is good. This is good. I saw Glass now is potentially coming back day after, right?
I was about to say, yeah,
or is it the day before?
Dodgers will get Glass now back for the series against the Giants. So is he? Oh, he's scheduled. He's Wednesday. He's scheduled Wednesday. Yeah, and then Kershaw is what I say Thursday. Yeah, so day before. That's big.
I also wonder how much of the Glass now thing was just a little bit of load management. Let's not be naive. Let's not be naive here, people. The load management and the IL manipulation is a thing. And I know Billy Epler was the one that took that hit. But every team does it.
It's so real in baseball now. It did. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think it used to be a thing, really, but it's evolved into being a thing in baseball. But the thing is that Major League Baseball doesn't want to admit it. They want to turn people's eyes and attention away from the fact that, this thing that everybody's getting on the NBA for, Major League Baseball does it too. But we don't want to say that because we're the blue collar All-American sport and always have been.
It's like super easy to do it with guys that like have had a pretty lengthy injury history as well.
For
super
sure.
Easy.
For sure. And it's like you can sit there and tell us that you're the blue collar all-American sport, but the second that the amount of money that's involved in baseball as is today gets jumbled up, all that stuff goes out the window. You're going to get caught up in trying to protect these stars just the same way that they do in the NBA and elsewhere in the sports world. That's just the reality of it. So Major League Baseball needs to just stop pretending this is a thing. It's very real. Let's just hope it doesn't get out of hand. What are you laughing at?
Soto just hit a home run, and this is becoming laughable how slow these home run trots are being with them and the Rays. Just going back and forth with the slowest possible home run trots. To be fair, he did go upper deck to right field, but
are we going to see a Yankee or a Ray in this game walk
just the whole way?
The entire
it's been
way around bases.
If you don't know what we're talking about, just look up how slow these home run trots have been the last few days.
Look up Jose Siri's, would you say second home run of the day?
Scumbag.
Or no,
I don't know.
His home run today.
I think he's had 2 in this series, but
two in the series. That's right. Yeah.
He hit one yesterday. It was really slow. Hit another one today. Slower today.
Check
Walked
out
around third base.
Yeah, I was gonna say check out his little stretch around third there. It's quite comical. I'm still holding out hope. Well, we need to be careful with my words here. I'm not holding out hope because that would just be really weird. I'm holding on to the belief that at one point down the line in Major League Baseball, we're going to see, whether it's a rivalry or just two teams that don't really like each other, we are going to see a player in an attempt to mock the other team pull down his pants and just like take a dump on first base. Like, we are going to see something so egregious in our lifetime because like it's only going to get worse. We're seeing guys literally walk around third base.
Yeah.
This
is the can of worms that were opened a few years ago. And this is why we were yelled at and called old heads and called boring. And it wasn't what was happening at the time. It's what we knew was going to come.
Correct.
And
exactly.
we're watching what's happening. It's all coming to fruition.
Perfectly said. It wasn't like when we were talking about it, when this whole let the kids, they were, Major League Baseball was giving the guys shirts to wear that said, let the kids play.
Yeah.
And we're like, it's not what's going on now. It's the can of worms that's opened that's going to lead to what we're going to see down the road. And sure enough, like, and it's hilarious to watch because all these players like, no, man, we're just out here having fun. Let the kids play. But the second somebody takes a little bit too long rounding third base, then it's, whoa, no cap on my mama. I'm going to throw hands on God. Like that's where we're at now. And it's like, okay, well, y'all are just going to eat yourselves alive going back and forth on the state of the game and what should be allowed, what shouldn't be allowed. I'm over it. I'm all good. I'm all good with pimping a home run. I'm all good with a little bit of chin music after the fact. But beyond that, like we don't need the theatrics because it's just going to rip the game apart because guys are going to get their feelings hurt and then nobody's going to want to freaking play anymore because they're going to want to pick up their ball and go home. Oh, I'm so done with it, dude. I'm done with this whole narrative. I'm over it.
Monday, KC. Built different. Monday,
daytime.
Yeah.
Daytime Monday, KC. Yeah. Too much. Mike Trout could be back. I think he's actually, I don't know if he's officially set to make his return, but I think the return is imminent.
Cool.
I saw as soon as Thursday against the A's. That's a good team maybe to match up. Actually, no, I take that back. I need to show some respect to the A's here.
Oakland A's been playing decent ball.
Decent ball is an understatement. Some of these box scores, dude, they put up, let's see here. They put up 18 against the Phillies, 13 against the Angels the next day. They put up 8 the day after that, put up 5. Like, I don't know what's happening to the A's right now. I don't know where this offense is coming from. Probably Brent Rooker and Brent Rooker only. Guys demolishing baseballs right now.
Look up Miguel Andujar numbers. I'm not going to go into it, but it's what? Miguel Andujar numbers are crazy. You're going to be insanely surprised there. And he's like splitting time with Rooker. He's not even playing every day.
Trying to find just some quick numbers here. He's hitting 304 and 200 ABs for Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Not bad, right?
Good for Miguel Andujar.
There's gonna be some names to move there, but whatever.
Back to the Trout thing.
I feel like this is just a whole lot of news today that just doesn't get me fired up. I think the only people that care about this Mike Trout news are fantasy owners.
Well, I failed to mention this off the top, but the reason we're recording Monday today is because, again, I was out of town in Colorado this past week, and we got in late and didn't really want to have to worry about squeezing an episode in prior to getting to bed to get ready for the work week.
Sure.
So here we are recording today.
During the work day.
Well, I'm on my lunch break. In case anybody's listening.
Same.
In case anybody's listening, this is my lunch break. So just relax. Why did I share that information? Oh, because today I was pulling together the rundown, the agenda, and I kind of had the same thought. I'm like, majority of this news on this fine Monday doesn't really get me going for the week.
But here we are.
But
here we are for the people, you know?
I mean,
the people need us.
I think that's partially due to the fact that we're only coming off 3 games. We guys, I think, are a little bit sluggish, a little bit, you know, fresh off the break. You're kind of easing back into it a little bit. But yeah, we don't really have much to go off from the past few days. So this is kind of what we're dealing with. But you're really struggling to find the juice with the Mike Trout stuff.
I'm very over it. I'm very over it. Like I saw a clip of him hitting off the tee on the field, and I'm like, I don't know. In my mind, that's a little bit of a scumbag move. You know what I mean? We're just like, if you're gonna do tee work, you could just keep the balls in the cage. You know what I mean?
So we're out here. Wow, on the field. We're at the point in Mike Trout's career where you think he's just pulling off scumbag moves.
That's just it's a little. I felt unnecessary. Whether it led to full on BP, I'm not sure. But I thought it was a few weeks ago, and they were like, he's swinging off a tee, and Mans is on the field, and I'm just like, do we need that?
How far he's fallen in the eyes of Nate Reyes. Unreal.
I'm just over it. I appreciate what you've done for our game, but I'm tired of hanging on every word of all the updates that we need to do to keep up with your 85-game season every year. I refuse to turn on Mike Trout at this point in his career. I know I've wavered. I know I've echoed a similar sentiment at times where I'm like, I'm just done. But I'm at the point now, and I'm like this with everything. Meredith tells me this all the time. I won't like something if it's like all the rage, like everybody's talking about it, like whatever. Yeah.
Taylor Swift, like, not that I was planning on talking about Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift's a perfect example.
Big ricochet here. I like it.
No, for real. No, I'm trying to give her some props here. When she was just like all the rage up, like pre Travis Kelce, I'm like, no, I'm done. I still don't listen to her music. I just want that on record.
No, I'm good.
But I'm like, I'm done with Taylor Swift. I'm tired of hearing about it. But the second she started catching stray, or not stray, as pretty direct hate with the whole like NFL thing, I'm not going to say I turned into a Swiftie, but I'm like, let's dial it back a little bit here. What do you want her to do? Just like sit in a dark room all day and just not do anything? Relax. So I'm kind of the same way with Mike Trout, where it's like everybody was, oh, Mike Trout's the greatest, man. And then you and I were kind of on the same page where it's like, well, you have
I don't
to
like
show
calling
us.
current guys goats. I hate that.
Like you have to show it. You have to.
Yeah.
And he did there for a while, but then very quickly fell off the injury cliff and just hasn't been able to recover. But now everybody's kind of on the same page as you, where they're just like, I'm over it. Let's talk about Shohei now. And it's like, whoa. Let's not forget about Mike Trout over here. So I refuse.
I'm over the story. What do we like?
I get it.
He's going to come back and he's probably going to still end up having like 40 home runs by the end of the season. And it's for a wasted ass Angels team.
Well, that's not
cool. The same thing. I've seen this movie a million times and it gets worse every time I see it. So I don't want to watch it anymore.
I get it. But I'm just saying, I'm not going to be on the wrong side of history when his career is over. And it's time to reflect back on Mike Trout's career. And everybody was like, yeah, man, Mike Trout was the greatest. Like, no, shut up. Yeah. No. And I'm not saying you. I'm saying the people that are going to then all be like buddy, Mike Trout. Like, no, I didn't turn on the guy when he didn't have anybody else in his corner. I was there.
Oh, he's got plenty of delusional people in his corner.
As the meme goes, if Mike Trout has one fan, something, that's me. If Mike Trout has no fans, I'm dead. That's where we're at now.
All right.
That's where we're at, because it doesn't sound like anybody really cares about the remainder of Mike Trout's career.
By the way, speaking of Angels, I need you.
Just dismisses me completely.
I need you to apologize to me.
For what?
For Joe Adell. I told you who he was. I told everyone who he was. And you tried to get me to apologize in May.
Yeah, because he was good at the time. And
look at him.
I said, hey, let's take a look at what Joe Adell is doing here.
Now
You're
look
like,
at
no,
him.
the guy sucks. I said, well, no, he's actually playing pretty well right now.
Look at him.
I'm not responsible for what happens in July.
I need an apology.
I said at the time that he was playing well, and it warranted, in my mind, an apology from you, because you were just like unnecessarily ruthless against the guy. And I'm like, whoa. This isn't even like he's not even really a household name. And you're just picking out Joe Adell from the crowd and like, I don't like that guy.
He's hitting 198 now.
That's nice. So anyway.
We all knew. I knew. And everyone said that I owe apologies. I ain't apologizing to nobody.
All right, Conor McGregor. Let's talk about Kodai Senga. Kodai Senga, talking about returns, could be back sooner than we think. In fact, this week, I believe, Friday against the Braves, the aforementioned Braves.
Wow.
I mean, you want to talk about a good team to bring him back against. Mm-hmm. Bring him back against a team that might finish beneath the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty smart. That's pretty smart on behalf of the Mets. You're talking about a team that could finish below you in the standings. It's similar. It's like the same thing you would do with like the A's or something. Like bring him back against a team that's scuffling a little bit.
It's a good time. It's a good time.
I'm looking forward to seeing the return though. I feel like we were cut short of a
super hot start this year, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, no, not. Hold on. This would be,
or is this his season debut?
This would, his season debut.
I thought he started the year.
You said hot start, and I agreed with you because I thought you were talking about like last year just as a whole.
Oh,
but yeah, no, he hasn't pitched this year.
Well, this just shows you how much I
care about the Mets. Yeah, we know. He went 12-7 with a 2.98 last year. Led the team in wins, ERA, and strikeouts, which not really saying much because it's the Mets. But
this is the resurgence the New York Mets need.
Here's the question:
go get that first round exit?
No. From this point forward, we're not. When we talk about the Braves and the Mets, we're not talking about the playoffs. We're talking about who finishes above who. And Kodai Senga might be the X factor that the Mets need to surge past the Braves.
I agree. Then they need to really just stand firm on keeping Peter Alonso in place.
What's more important, Mets, the future of your franchise or whether or not you can outlast the Braves this year? If you can surge past and outlast the Braves this year.
How long does that carry you? You know what I mean?
You want to talk about morale?
It's a big booster. That's for years. You can hold that.
But look at what we've talked about today. Today alone. You tell me this. What's a better addition? Whit Merrifield or Kodai Senga?
That's true.
That's
a good argument.
That's what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
That's what we're dealing with here.
I like that. I like that breakdown.
I'm almost kind of pulling for this upset at this stage. Now we've talked about it enough. Am
I a Mets fan now?
Let's go Mets. Or are we both Mets? Are we both Mets fans now? Like, are we pulling for this?
Nah, I can't do it.
I just kind of want to see it because I just want to see how believe me, I don't have like this personal vendetta against Braves fans, but I would just love to see how they respond.
Some could say Braves fans have a personal vendetta against you.
That's understandable and that's reasonable. But I explained on the Home Run Derby live stream watch party that I'm just kind of laying low. But if they want to throw something in my face, I'm going to throw it right back at them.
Yeah.
Typically tying the Phillies into it somehow because that's just an easy win in that argument.
Right.
But I would just be curious to see how Braves, like what the response from Braves fans would be if they finish in third this year.
I think that would really hit home, real kick to the nuts.
That'd be tough. Closing the book here. Shohei Ohtani.
Oh my.
Has joined Aaron Judge as the only members in the 30 home run club so far this year and did it crazy fashion. We're not going to talk about who he did it against, but it was 473 feet on Sunday Night Baseball.
Here's what doesn't make sense is that how does he hit it out of Dodger Stadium and then Soler hit one like 10 rows up dead center field in Coors and it goes 478?
Yeah.
How does that happen? I don't understand that. If I've ever seen 515 feet, I think I just saw it. Don't tell me it's 473. I don't buy that. Nuke job, though. Crazy.
Unreal. You already stole it earlier. Yordan Alvarez hit for the cycle on Sunday as well. And my next note here, very much related. En route to his triple that he tallied on Sunday, Julio Rodriguez got caught in the crossfire a little bit, collided with a wall, trying to make a play on it. X-rays came back negative.
The ankle was like,
yeah, that I watched it back. That
didn't look good.
Didn't look good, but sounds like all things considered should be hopefully all right. Says Scott Survey said it's a little bit of an ankle sprain, so hopefully all good there on that front. And lastly, Jim Leland, Adrian Beltre, Todd Helton, and Joe Mauer.
What a group!
Are Hall of Famers. What a group!
What a group! I love that we are now in this time and place where we can be like, these are all dudes that I watched. These are all dudes that I specifically remember. Jim Leland just ripping heaters in the dugout, blowing back some darts,
providing an awesome closing to his speech that I sent you.
That was amazing. Yeah, for those unfamiliar, go look up Jim Leland's speech. Just nailed it. I love that. Todd Helton didn't disappoint. Todd Helton was exactly who Todd Helton was. He said in his speech, he's like, the last thing I want to do is sit up here and talk about myself. But what an honor it is. Like, that's cool, man. That's cool. That guy is the dude. Adrian Beltre, no duh. What a group.
Side note, have they done the whole Cooperstown patch on the hats? Have they done that before? Because I feel like I just noticed that for the first time, and I was a big fan.
I don't know.
Like for the games being played this weekend, like all the players had the Cooperstown or the Baseball Hall of Fame patch.
I would have liked I would have liked them to be better on the hat. You could see that it was like, did you see like the side angles like sticking out? It was like separated. Like I'd like a little bit of a better performance there,
a little bit more
by new
effort.
Era, but overall, very cool, very neat.
It was a nice touch. And being at Coors this weekend. In fact, we're literally the ceremony was yesterday, right? Sunday, isn't that when they do the ceremony?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Being there this weekend for the game Friday, I mean, all sorts of Todd Helton stuff around the park. So that was cool to see as they were getting ready for their guy to get inducted.
I'm really happy he made it in. It seems to me that we're trending towards potentially Andrew Jones getting in with this next ballot. I think his numbers are climbing. So that's like my next, mission. Just get the word out. That's got to happen.
I think it will.
I think it needs to. That's crazy. That's an absurd name to not have. I don't know. What are we doing?
We're not going to put him in because he played for so long. It's like, okay, so then we're also going to punish the guys that played. We're going to keep him out for the reason that we get on people that don't play long enough. It's like, well, you didn't play for the sweet spot amount of time. What is that? Shut up. Andrew Jones is a Hall of Famer. Let's relax.
One of, if not the greatest center fielder. No, okay, one of. Can't say the.
Yeah, let's
but
say the. One of.
Top 10 center fielder of all time. Slam dunk. Solidified. Secured.
Sharpie. Set in stone.
Mark your calendars. I don't know.
No cap.
All. Riz.
Shiesty.
I don't know what that one means.
I don't know. No cap. And that's on my mama. All right. Let's get out of here. Go. Anything else you got for the folks?
Yeah, I mean, I was just kind of curious if you had an answer.
You didn't ask me a question.
Well, I was thinking about this the other day, and it's kind of been with me. When is it's ITS okay, and when is IT apostrophe S the move? You know what I mean? So I feel like my phone and my computer just correct things.
Do we need like a little grammar lesson here?
I just wasn't sure if you just knew that off the top.
It's is an abbreviation with an apostrophe. It's is an abbreviation for it is.
Sure.
It's without an apostrophe refers to that person's thing, item, home, whatever it is. It's the dog. You're talking about a dog. It's doghouse. It's food. That's without an apostrophe.
So for the first time ever, the apostrophe is not possessive, but everything else, it is possessive.
I guess that's how, if you want to explain it that way. Yeah, I guess so. The English language, man.
There's this TikTok where the dude's talking like in Spanish of like, if you say this word, this word, this word, and they're all just like super close. It's great. And he does like the whole sentence of it. You'll find it. All right. That's all for me. It's just a good way to end it,
There's that thing. Can you just like share some other things while I try to find this clip real quick?
I did have a note. that I'd like to. I don't know if this is something we can settle right here and now, but I'd like to maybe just like get it out there as a poll for the people. But I was fighting with my wife yesterday about what is a better addition / snack / go-to, celery or carrots. And I was curious if you had an opinion on that.
If given a choice, I'm probably going carrots.
I'm going celery. I don't think carrots are great. I don't think carrots are worth their time. I think they're very overrated. I think a celery can dance around in buffalo sauce, ranch, or you can mess around with peanut butter. Can carrots do that? I don't think so. So there's that too. That was on my mind as well. I got a lot on my mind lately.
That sounds like it. I can't find this video, but it was basically just this like it was the same thing you were kind of talking about, where it's like a French. It was like fond, and it was like Google Translate, and it was like 16 different meanings. And I'm just like, what is language? Like what is happening here? Anyway, that's kind of all I got. We will see you guys. Are we getting back on schedule here? Are we gonna try to pick it up Wednesday?
Whatever you want, man.
It's whatever you want.
Let's say yes. I have a feeling there's going to be some things happening today and
True.
tomorrow.
Yeah, we're getting closer to trade season, so maybe we'll have a thing or two to talk about.
Let's hope. In the meantime,
wink, nod.
We love you, and don't you dare ever go chasing curveballs.
We love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.